If I told you the last proper PvP update happened 2.5 years ago, how would you react? Some of you will curse under your breath and lament the thought of a Reaper 5 galleon bearing down on you as you red sea your loot. Others will roll their eyes and repeat the phrase, Rare doesn't care about PvP. They did, and they still do. A small change to Adventure revitalised PvP when Arena was waning and epitomised the core mechanic of Sea of Thieves, risk versus reward. This update came out on the 22nd of April and it was the legendary Ships of Fortune. Not only would it add the greatest piece of evergreen content, but also cause a deeper divide between the PvP and PvE camps. I love Ships of Fortune and long for an update like it. It introduced the emissary system, a massive load of cosmetics, leaderboards, reviving, a total revamp of Arena, a brand new trading company, and a new type of pet. I say this is the best, that was the best, but Ships of Fortune was the quintessential PvP update. So let me discuss why that was. The emissary system is simple. You raise a flag which is purchased from your chosen trading company and is voted on at a table near their dwelling. If you perform certain actions, you'll gain reputation towards your emissary flag, with the potential to level it up from 1 to 5. These actions can be killing other emissaries, picking up loot, selling stolen cargo, or defeating world events, depending on who you choose to represent. Each tier grants a gold and reputation bonus from 33% to 150% depending on the level from 2 to 5. As you can imagine, this not only granted a huge boon to your purse, but changed the economy more than any other update. It was literally a license to print money. Each of the legacy factions would have a special quest that could be claimed once level 5 was reached, high level and rewarding quests to tempt you to stick around to get that voyage. The system appealed to every pirate's nature, greed. The catch was that if you sink, your bonus is lost and you'd have to gain your bonus again. Your broken flag would float up once your ship had despawned. Oh, and the new faction, the Reaper's Bones. The Reaper's Bones were the first faction to accept any loot in the game, but more importantly, emissary flags. They're the only company that can accept the flags and they rewarded massive gold and reputation. Reapers also had the option to become emissaries, with the trade-off being marked on the map at all times. This was done to allow the other emissaries time to react to a potential attacker, but also encourages PvP, where Reapers could battle each other. As the representatives of Captain Flameheart, the Reapers seek the thrill of battle, where they were designed as a PvP faction. No, not the money grinding faction that run from every other ship. If Reapers got to Emissary Grade 5, they could also see every other emissary ship on the map. The whole system was created to not only up the stakes, but create thrilling encounters and encourage player interaction. The risk versus reward was dialed up for everyone. I think the notion is lost as I see many complaints of people being sunk as emissaries, not understanding the intended design, just like Alliance betrayals. On the surface, the change is so simple and changed the dynamic of PvP for lots of people. I would even argue it revitalised it, or was meant to, for Adventure. Rare also made the smart decision to increase all the faction levels for each of the legacy factions. Hunter's Call and Sea Dogs were left out. This gave a reason for Pirate Legends and Athena 10s to engage with the new system, especially when Athena's Fortune received a new quest in Heart of Fire just a month earlier. On top of this, new commendations were implemented, further encouraging playing in the emissary system, where you'd have to sell treasures as emissaries and reach different grades. The Reaper's Bones got a full set of these too. Going even further, each company got a new costume to go with their flags and a new ship set too, with the exception of Athena's Fortune, in which they received new ghost items and legendary items. Imagine that nowadays, 5 costumes, 4 new ship sets and Pirate Legend cosmetics, all without including the Pirate Emporium and Black Market in this update. This was a monthly update too, and puts the seasonal cosmetic drops to shame. Lastly, to encourage emissary play even further, Rare added leaderboards for emissary play. See, when you sell items as an emissary, you get a score assigned to you. Over the course of the month, this can build up, and if you end up in the top 75, 50 and 25% of the global ranking, you earn rewards. The first lot of these rewards were titles and 2 different sales. This is something that all of us aim towards nowadays, even if the reward release cycle is a little slow. As you can see, the emissary system was a massive chunk added to this game, an evergreen one that played on risk versus reward, encapsulating the earlier philosophies of world events when the game launched. Next up for Ships of Fortune is Arena 2.0. Something that actually varies in renown for Arena fans. I would argue it made the game mode more accessible and fast paced, with PvP becoming a more attractive method of earning points. Others will say it took a lot of the skill out of it. Overall, I preferred Arena 2.0 due to it being more friendly to new players and making the game mode that much more accessible. The more people who want to PvP, the better. I see arguments for both sides, but reducing the amount of chests was a positive for me. At launch, Arena contained multiple chest maps across the islands, whereas Arena 2.0 had a shared map with a beacon visible at all times. The contests, or maps that you play on, had reduced sailing distances and only one cash-in point now. Matches were reduced to 15 minutes, down from 24. Temporary bans had been implemented for people as well who quit too often. I also believe these were good changes and improved the matches overall and the game-to-game flow. Up next in Ships of Fortune was quite a large feature. The following addition was something I vehemently dislike and have never been positive due to the change of the meta it caused and the continued nerfing of smaller crews. Of course, I'm talking about Revive. This allowed players to be revived by crewmates, where they would be prevented from going to the Ferry of the Damned, standing up from the kneeling position with 25% of their health. Ultimately, it was a great change for some of the more tedious PvE encounters, but I still maintain it wrecked the balance of PvP. The ferry was always intended to be a punishment for dying, and with the terrible black screens at the time and Xbox load times, it was even worse. Revive allowed bad crews to crutch on the revive system, and smaller crews became less effective. If you were solo and took out a Galleon crew member, they would be out of the game for a long time, but now, a teammate would walk over and reduce that penalty significantly. It also made breaking spawn camping much more difficult and enabled that style of play. The balance is much better now with no reviving on enemy ships, but would like to see it gone from any sort of PvP related death. The black market continues its refresh, like clockwork, as well as the Pirate Emporium. I really miss Duke when he was a good guy. These videos make me nostalgic for his new dialogue each month. Duke offered the Fearless Bonecrusher clothes and vanity items, a green recolor of the original grey-brown set from Skeleton Thrones. As for the goodies for gold, we got the smashing Inky Kraken weapons, hat, jacket and dress. It's noticeably less thematically sound as last month, but it's certainly great. Briefly, the Emporium was mainly the same emotes in a ship. Keeping it super brief as there's only so much you can say, the emotes were okay, probably the most underwhelming for a while. The ship set was the Nightwolf ship set, based on the franchise Saberwolf, yet another rare IP. The theme is neat, just not my cup of tea. A note, this isn't based off a Saberwolf from Killer Instinct, which Captain Blubber educated me on a while back. The real star of the show from the Emporium was motherfucking Cats. I was really surprised when they didn't debut with the Emporium, as they'd been teased as far back as 2018 with the art book and Tales from the Sea of Thieves, where the Servant of the Flame had a ship's cat called Trouble. Cats were the icing on the cake here, with several breeds available and colours. I remember being so excited to pick up one and actually have a whole group of them in my chest, although the ship was rat free for a good few years, so they've been slacking recently. Can't say much more about them, it's a fantastic addition and they're decently priced too. All in all though, Rare needs to release more updates like this, encouraging PvP, player interactions and risk versus reward. Arguably, we haven't had a proper PvP update with the staying power of Ships of Fortune ever, and you'll be hard pressed to find a grander update than this. It had new systems, ways to progress, rewards, and actually introduced evergreen content. Rare is overdue another update like this. Fort of Fortune and Legend of the Veil did add to this for a time, but the balance of risk versus reward was never maintained or the progression was just a bit too short. Player interaction, good and bad, has always been the bread and butter of this game, and when done correctly, new mechanics can be used for years to come, case in point with the headline feature of Ships of Fortune. So, there we go. Thanks for watching. I hope I conveyed the importance of this update and why we need these updates in the future. Did you play Ships of Fortune? Please let me know down in the comments. Oh, and make sure you join the Discord for 6-pack and capstan giveaways, links in the pinned comment. Thanks again for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.